I used FishingBooker for about 2 years, and I quit using it altogether now about a year ago. So in this video, I'm going to go over the 3 biggest pain points that I had when I was using it, so that maybe I can save you a little bit of pain and suffering too. So the 3 biggest features or pain points about it were flexibility, contracts, and features. All right, now let me break those down. Flexibility, when I say flexibility, I mean, I didn't feel personally like I was able to have control over my trips, if that makes sense. And also, just to be clear, like I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't use FishingBooker. It was great when I was using it. But yeah, with that said, I felt like they kind of dictated a lot of things about it. Like just the way that when someone's messaging me about a trip, like I can't send them my phone number or else it like blocks it out. And then we have to like have these chats within FishingBooker. And it was like I understand what they're trying to do because they don't want you to book off platform and then they lose it. But it just felt very controlling. And it was a price I was willing to pay for a while. But after a while, it gets kind of old of not feeling in control of my trips. So then the next thing, which this was a big one for me, which was contracts. And it kind of goes with flexibility and not feeling like I have control. But contracts are a big one because like when I very first started, I would literally have people like sign a like legitimate physical copy piece of paper. And like that was how I'd get my contract signed, which that's fine if that's how you prefer to do it. But then luckily I found a website provider where now it's just kind of like a checkbox type of thing, like it's digital, they agree to it digitally. It makes my life so much easier. But in that contract is like the operating agreement of like cancellation policies and like, just everything else that I add to it, because I guess FishingBooker has a cancellation policy, but that's a whole nother thing. Because what would end up happening is like some of my locations that I fish are like an hour and 15-minute drive one way. So I've got like 2.5 hours wrapped up in a travel, driving a truck that gets 14 miles a gallon and, my time and spending. Yeah. So I have resources invested into the trip. So when I was doing 10% deposits through FishingBooker, I'd get like, whatever. So 10% of $350 when I was first starting. So I'd get like $35 for a deposit. And then, which FishingBooker I know would normally keep that if I run the trip, but at least at the time of me using it, if the customer was a no-show, then FishingBooker didn't keep the deposit and then like you would get the deposit. But what I was like is I'm like I was literally calling FishingBooker and I'm like, I spent more than $35 to fulfill it, to like get here, and then they decide to not show up. And like $35 isn't that much for somebody if they don't feel like going. They'll just be like, meh, it was $35. I don't care about it. So that was a real frustration point after a couple times of spending half a day and actual like money on gas and stuff. I didn't feel like I should be losing money by someone not showing up, like literally losing money. And so personally, I wanted it to be where if you don't show up, no notice. If you give me no notice and you don't show up and then you never return my phone calls after that, you're still responsible to pay for the trip. Because I could have booked that trip out to somebody else and you were just ignorant to not let me know about anything. And then FishingBooker didn't support that. They're like, well, no, that's not our policy. So that was frustrating because there was no way for me to get clients to agree to my contract through FishingBooker. It was only FishingBooker's agreements. So it was things like that I wasn't able to enforce my policies because my contract wasn't on there. So now the next thing is just general lack of features, which I don't want this to just be like a complaint fest about FishingBooker. And I'm thankful for FishingBooker. FishingBooker helped me a lot. If you're just getting started, I would recommend using FishingBooker to get on your feet until you have enough of a clientele to, go out on your own. And then it just doesn't make sense to use FishingBooker anymore. At least it didn't for me. But features of just like, just really general things that I guess my other website provider, Guidesly, that they did have. And I just liked I just liked the way that they had their system set up better, I guess. And that might sound like I'm not being like specific enough, but it wasn't necessarily, I guess, like one silver bullet that it was like, oh, like they didn't have this one feature. It was just like 1,000 golden BBs of stuff that I just liked a little bit better about having my own website with a different domain and stuff like that than just running it all through FishingBooker. So yeah, though that's some of my reasons and pros and cons about using FishingBooker. So I hope you're able to learn something from that and apply it to your own business.